What is up, YouTube? Poplar Mechanic here. Today we're in this low access backyard right near the river, and we're going to be taking out 6 cottonwood trees. Now, although they're all large trees, there's one that stands out above them all. It's got to be one of the biggest trees I've ever taken down without the assistance of a crane. So what we'll do is I'll show you some of the highlights of the smaller trees, and then we'll get right into the big one. Alright guys, so we're about to head up this monster. You can see it's a pretty good sized tree. Basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rope walk up with my spurs and everything, and I'm going to switch this base anchor to a canopy anchor because you can see I'm pretty much out of rope. So that tie-in right there is about 75 feet. Pretty good wood. I decided to put the bollard on this side here. I did cut a little notch, nothing fancy, but she's rigid. So we're going to be rigging here. And I'm probably going to put a ring in there just so we're always redirecting straight into the bollard, and then I'll do the fancy shit from there, but she's pretty widespread. All right, keep a little downward pressure on there for me, Steven. So watch your head, I don't want to spike you. Alright guys, so we've made it to the top here. I'm still running my base anchor at this point. I'm not going to lie, this isn't a super comfortable situation, especially knowing these cottonwoods. But it does seem fairly strong, but the wind was picking up, and it's sort of an uncomfortable feeling. But here we are zipping these tops down. I just want to get some weight off my main tie-in and stop that wind from moving me around. Okay, here she comes. Nice work.
Alright guys, so here we are day 2 up in this tree. Keep in mind we started it at the end of the other day because we had some other trees to remove. So all I did was zip those tops out, and this time when I came up the other side of the tree. Now I got lots of weight off my tie-in point, so it's just feeling a lot better when it gets windy. So here we are, we're just following these branches, nothing serious. We're going to set up some rigging over here for later use. This tree though, it's quite interesting. You know, these cottonwoods, they grow really funny. This limb I'm standing on right here sort of leers out over my tie-in point. So there is tree over there, but it's sort of really weak end branches. It's kind of an interesting thing, but you'll see a little bit more of it later. Okay guys, so here we are, we're about to rope this first branch down here, and you'll notice that I have multiple rings in there. Now, for some reason people seem to get upset about this on the internet, like when I post stuff on TikTok, so it's really not that complicated. All it is a ring directly above the bollard, so that's keeping everything in line. Then I have a second one for sort of a fishing pole effect to add strength on this leaning limb, and the third one is the one that I'm actually rigging the branch from. And then sometimes I actually end up adding another one, and the reason for that is because it adds strength to this. And then once you're set up like that, why would you take it out? So I mean, I can see how that could be confusing to some people, but no, it's really not that much work. It's actually more work to take the redirects out. So I just thought I would make that point clear for the guys wondering. So this limb we're on right here is kind of weird. We have a broken limb. You can see it's split there. It's been hanging there from a while. You can tell just from the color of the wood. And what I did was I used a webbing sling to hook it together just so it didn't break apart. And then you can see that the limb is still green. That's pretty cool that it broke like that and it's still green. So here we are. We're just trying to get it over to the other side of that tree, to that other rigging point. I thought I was going to have to go down, but you'll see what happens here.
She's hung up. Woo! It worked, Steven. I was ready to go out there and cut it. I'm glad I didn't have to though.
Alright guys, so now we're in the part of the tree that's back to where my tie-in point was. I have my rigging set up over there, and I chose to span rig some of this stuff, and the primary reason was I was trying to get it in that hole between the shed and the rest of the tree, because there's just a lot of stuff under this tree, like sheds, fences, those two evergreen trees we couldn't hit, and this isn't panning out super well for me, and I will admit that. Looking at this now, I might have done this a little bit differently. And if you're wondering why I haven't removed the lower large stub of wood there, it's just because my only mission up here right now is to get the top of this tree out so I can reach it with the lift, because this tree is mostly big wood, and that's a lot of spurring and rigging big wood. Not impossible, but just not, it's easier to do it with the lift. And that branch that's leaning out over the garden, there isn't a ton of opportunity there either. So it makes it, you'll see us do that later, and it makes it really handy with the lift. Okay, so here's one of the last branches at the top here, and then this area is pretty much cleared out, which is nice. I can get all this from the lift. I ended up spanning this one too, and you know, actually looking at this, I don't know if it was the right or wrong way, but what I am glad is we didn't end up damaging anything, and it did work to pull those branches away from the shed. Although it didn't go super smoothly, I got this one hung up. You'll see what we use to get the next top out here.
Fixing our second screw up here, but you know what? I'm happy, boys, to have all that crown out of my tie-in point. It just makes me feel a lot better.
Okay guys, so obviously I had to rappel down and cut this one out, which isn't too big of a deal now because I got all the stuff I needed to get out of the top at this point, at least in this section of the tree. There is another section, but the rigging is a little bit better, and we don't have to worry about this shed. But I mean, if you just kind of look, when I look down here, you can see how tight that drop zone is. And you can kind of understand why I spanned it. I was trying to pull it away from that area, but these branches are pretty long and gangly. So I'm not overly proud of this particular situation, but you know what? We did get the branches down safely and nobody got hurt.
Okay, you got a little bit pointing towards that shed there. Rolly, you'll just have to make sure. Oh. That is a tight little drop zone. I don't know, there might have been a better way to do that, guys. Nice work. Come on, Rolly, you're not getting paid to lay down here, buddy. Okay, let it down now. Just too much friction, eh? How's that, Steven? So we just had too many wraps going on. Okay. It's okay, that's okay. Yeah! Nice work, Steven. There you go. That's the way we got to be doing this, boys. Great. Okay, you ready? Watch out for traffic. Woo!
Alright guys, so now you kind of understand what I'm doing here. You can see I have my double rope system. So this is where I came initially to get that split branch out of the other side. I've got a double rope system, so I've got a separate tie-in here, but you can just see how high this branch leers over my other tie-in point there. It's really crazy. Now this drop here, I'm not going to lie, I didn't have high hopes for it. But Steven did an amazing job here of letting this run and not getting hung up right there. Perfect.
Oh! What? Come back to me, rope runner. Come back. Come on, baby. Atta girl. Get you home where you belong. Now that we sent that extravagant prop across. The best of both worlds.
Okay, guys, so here we are back, day 2. We were able to get the lift in now, and I know it seems like I'm getting quite a ways up here, but you'll see later on I'm pretty much right up against the tree, and I'm just able to reach my one tie-in point there, so there was still quite a bit of canopy above me. So today we're going to be focusing on mainly logs and taking that branch off over the garden. One thing I will mention though is I'm not going to show every one of these rigs. There's just too much wood here to come down. We did end up free sending some stuff and rigging some stuff, but I will show the important stuff here coming up. Alright guys, I just thought I'd add this tie-in. It's a little tip for you. So when you're sort of tip tying these logs, what I like to do is tie my bowline first. Yeah, I know my rope's frayed. I got her fixed now. But I like to tie this on first and then do my half hitch afterward. It could just be easier fumbling with all that extra slack.
Yeah, wherever you're comfortable, Steven, I'm happy. Give her the nuts, Stevie.
Okay guys, so basically this is the last cut on this stem. I just wanted to save some time. It's basically the same thing over and over. We're not taking huge chunks here because we're just so close to this stuff. But it basically, the closer and closer you get under that rigging point, the smoother and smoother this goes. So this part went really well. My bar got a little short on the 462, so I had to grab the 661 here to finish this. But no, this went really well, and you can see we're stacking them in between the shed, and I do have to grab them out later with the skid steer.
Okay, just nice and easy. That's beautiful work, bud. Hold on.
So this is one of the cool parts about having a material handler. You can see we kind of got this hung up in the maple. I mean, we probably could have got it out normally, but this works really well. And another thing I can do with this is when we're dropping roping pieces above, structures or gardens like we are here, I can actually manipulate, sort of put a redirect in it without putting a whole bunch of weight onto the lift truck.
Okay, I'm just going to kind of position it for you. Look at that. Okay, just wait before you get to that birdhouse because I'll move it for you. Yep. Do you want me to pull that one away from the house too, Rolly?
Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little compilation of us just shredding the end of that branch. It worked really well. I'm not going to show too much of this log here. I'll show the end parts that are really heavy there, but the stuff that's in the air right now, I had such a cushion built up because we couldn't get the chipper in and the lift at the same time, so I just chucked everything down onto the cushion and it worked really well. Okay guys, so now it's time for some negative rigging here. You can see I'm maxed out in the lift, so this is 65 feet. And if you go up above me, well, you'll see the branch come down. That's where my tie-in point was, up there. And then there was probably 20 or 30 feet of canopy above that, so that's why we had to climb the top out of it. So before we negative rig that top piece too low, I wanted to utilize it to get some of these heavier pieces, you know, because we didn't want to drop these ones obviously close to the lift because they might roll or close to structures. So we're just utilizing that high tie-in point and swinging them over quite easily. Alright guys, so basically after we negative rigged some of the wood, we did free drop a few pieces around the stump area there, and right now I've got this notch set up and Steven's just going to go ahead and he's going to pull that tree over, and basically that's all we got done today, and then we just cleaned up the wood the following day. So thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.